Yeah, what's up, everyone? Welcome to FILMspiration, the place where filmmakers come to get inspired. My name's writer-director Edgar Ibarra. Let's get down to business. So, kids, I've got a very special treat for you. Today we have
Elisa Cota-Francis.
Now, Elisa, throughout the years, I've run into you on sets. Talk to us a little bit about your history, because you have a very thorough history, a very long and rich running history. So, hold on, okay.
Not a row.
Oh, the joys of a phone. Okay, so talk to mom. I need to stop. Okay, talk to us a little bit about your history, for those of us who don't know your entire history, because you have a long one.
I do. So my roots go back to when Tucson was still Mexico. So my family has a rich history in southern Arizona, and I always knew that wherever we ended up, my father was an expert in the restaurant industry, so they used to take them all around the country to fix restaurants. But I knew when I wanted to go to school, I wanted to come back to U of A, and I knew at a young age that I wanted to be a filmmaker. I saw Empire Strikes Back, and that just turned my world upside down because of the fact that it was just so revolutionary.
When you saw Empire Strikes Back, 1982, right?
I think it was actually
80.
Yeah,
80.
And
I'm
then
sorry.
83 was the
Return of the Jedi. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So 82, Empire Strikes Back. But did your gut feeling already point you in the direction of audio at that point in time, or did that come later?
That actually came later. So I was lucky enough that I knew what I wanted to do at a young age. So when I entered high school, I knew I want to be a filmmaker. This is my goal. I went to a school that actually is still within the top 25 schools in the nation. It's Tolleson Union High School in Phoenix, Arizona. So we were known for our high class of intelligent students. And I was in a class where we had a plethora of talent. I mean, acting talent, scientific talent. I mean, some of the people I work with, I went to a school with a girl who's a neurosurgeon now. So we had the bar set high for ourselves. So we knew that when we decided to do whatever it was that we wanted to do, we wanted to go full force into it. So I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. So I realized, and I knew right in high school, got to go to U of A. They were the only ones at that time that had a film program, and it wasn't spectacular, but it was good. So I was so blessed. I start U of A, I get my first meeting with the head of the department, which I don't realize he's the head of the film department at the time. And he just says, let's sit down and talk. So I had these great mentors who were just very natural, and they said, tell me what you want to do. And we just talked, and he said, okay, here you go. He filled out my forms, and he said, you're going to be a BFA student in media arts, and you want to be a filmmaker. And I started on my way, and within a few years, I loved college. So I love learning. And I met Leslie Ann Epperson, which many people hopefully will know, one of the most talented documentary filmmakers in Arizona, in the country. And she was one of my first video teachers, and everybody knew she worked at Arizona Public Media.
Really?
Wow. And everybody would always talk to her and chat her up. And I came from a pretty good family about being able to be, strategic about your growth and your jobs. And so I kind of, got to know her, showed her by my work, the caliber of what I was doing. And one day I'm riding to class on my bike, and she is riding her bicycle. She says, hey, Elisa, she goes, when are you going to come and apply to be one of the student crew members at my station? And I said, when do you need me to go? She goes, well, as soon as you do, I'll be the one hiring you. So I knew right then and there, like, she wanted me to work there. So I went and I got that job. It was one of 4 jobs I had in college. I put myself fully through college on my own, paid for all of my classes, paid for everything. I worked at Centennial Hall, so I learned theater lighting, and my background in high school was theater. So I knew how to do all of that work. So I had this theater background. And when you work at KUAT, which then it was called, instead of Arizona Public Media, you're a sound person. So you're student crew. So you carry what they call in the industry a deck. Edgar may remember these. Yep. It was a 3/4 inch deck is what we used to use, and that's where the audio fed into. So I would have to be umbilicaled with a cord to the cameraman. Yep. So the cameraman would go out, and I worked with 2 extraordinary guys who were Emmy Award winners.
Sorry, come this way just a little bit. There you go. That way the lights don't strike inside.
Okay, perfect.
Not
a problem. No, that's okay.
So you were on set and you were working with 2 Emmy
Yes, I'm working with these guys who win Emmys, and working with Leslie Epperson, who was doing a documentary, one of her first in Arizona, and they basically direct you into being the sound person, and I just excelled. And I got to the point where Nate Shelton, who was then the audio person exclusively for The Desert Speaks, which is still one of the biggest Emmy Award winning shows in the world. And so they needed a stand-in for Nate because he got called out because unfortunately his mother had passed away. And I had such a good rapport with everybody that they rarely had student crew do it, but they asked me to do audio with The Desert Speaks. So I got to go out with these guys, Tom Gillespie and Dan Duncan, two extraordinary. Tom was a producer, Dan Duncan, one of the best photogs I ever worked with. He was literally, I was talking to Nate Shelton the other day, and we talked about how Dan literally, it was like getting taught a master class in filmmaking, in documentary filmmaking, because he was fast. He could get a rabbit running across, getting attacked by a rattlesnake, like that. So you had to be fast on your feet and set up microphones really fast, get everything done really quickly. So I learned from the best of the best, how to be fast and how to be good. And they had their own businesses. Should we take a break for the train?
Oh, no.
Okay. They had their own businesses, so I started to freelance. So I got to freelance with these guys because Nate had his own company on the side, and so I actually started getting hired out for audio. And I just fell in love with it. I loved having those headphones on, and I literally still have the same set of headphones, professional headphones that I bought 25 years ago. Wow. I refurbished them with new muffs and everything, but they're Sonys, they work beautifully. Still have them to this day.
When you put those on, there has to be a sentimental aspect to it, right?
It is. It reminds me of like being, I mean, they've traveled with me around the country. I have been in, different locations with these on different jobs, in freezing cold weather, in really hot weather, carrying gear that was so heavy. And I just, like I said, I fell in love with audio, and I was really good at it. And a lot of women do audio because we have a better sense of the highs and lows, so we have really good ears. And I just started to make that my direction.
And it's kind of true that us men don't listen anyway, right?
Well, I'm lucky enough to have a man who pretty much does, and
yay.
Exactly. And I actually am lucky enough to have people like you and other mentors and other colleagues in this business who kind of set their ego aside.
Yeah. And
so I'm lucky. I haven't worked with a lot of giant egos that just kind of railroaded people. So
that's got to be a thing that gets in the way when it does come up, because I mean, I like to say that you're either about the craft or about the BS, and the BS I include, like things like ego and, the who said this and who said that, when it's really not about that. It's about the actual craft of whatever you're doing, in your case audio, cinematography, acting, directing, etc., right?
Very much so. And so I was lucky enough, I worked with Steve Bayless, who wins several Emmys. He's won so many Emmys for sound design and sound. And when you have a guy like Martin Rubio, who is an Emmy Award winning photog for KUAT, still works for them to this day, tell you, hey, Elisa, if you have a good segment you'd like us to put up for an Emmy, let us know. And I never took advantage of that moment to say, hey, let me pull some spots and do that. And as a student going to U of A, them asking me, like letting me as a student get some sort of recognition for the work I was doing was like amazing to me. Like it really made me realize that I had a gift above all else. So here I am in the film school. There is a handful of us females within our film school, and I'm driven. I want to direct, I want to write. I would like to produce content. I'd like to do these things, and I want to know everything. I grew up in a family where when you learn everything, it's easier for you to get off the ground and go with it and do whatever you need to do. And so I went ahead and taught myself every aspect of filmmaking, documentaries, wherever I was doing. I wanted to know how to do it all. And I was very assertive. I've been called every name you could imagine, because when I told my father I wanted to become a filmmaker at a young age, he told me, well, Elisa, you're going to have to be twice as good because you're Mexican and 3 times better because you're a woman.
That's true.
And he said, as long as you make yourself the best, no one's going to question. Because if you're better than everybody else, no one else has anything they can say.
Now, being assertive on the spot, I mean, the thing that I've seen, at least in my professional life, of course in my filmmaking life also, is you have to be assertive in the moment, because if you don't speak up in the moment to get what you need and you're shy and you stay quiet and you walk away from the set with crap, that's going to make a difference. So why not speak up in the moment, right?
Absolutely. And that's the thing where a lot of people get trepidatious about it. They, because you have to find your voice, and you have to find that, and it comes with longevity in whatever you're doing. So I'm lucky. I've had, headphones on my ears for 24 years. So I've gotten used to what is good. Like, what do I know in that microphone, in that setting, that I can let that audio pass? I have so many people come up to me and they'll say and they'll look at me like, do you hear that? And I'm like, if I don't tell you to stop, because I hear it, you keep going. Yeah. But if I raise my hand, because I'm never going to interrupt an interview.
Yeah.
I'm never going to stop somebody in what they're doing, but I will raise my hand and make a notion to say, hey, and when they cut that take, then I have to tell them, nope, that's not usable. And they've been bold. I mean, people will look at you and they'll get angry at you because there was sirens, because there was a jet airplane. So you have to have a thick skin, and you have to
instead
just
of saying thank you, like, hey, thank you for being assertive and bringing that up,
exactly.
and holding stuff.
So you get, and I was a female head of a department. It's rare. So most times when I walked on set, I'm equal to that director of photography, and I have things I need to say and things I have to communicate. I was on a set actually last year where we had a director of photography who just took far too long, wasted hours and hours and hours. I never once went up and told him how to do his job, let him do what he wanted to do. And I graciously allowed the director to tell me what she wanted, because she's my boss. When she tells me, Elisa, I want microphones in this setup and I want that, absolutely. And I tell her, well, we're more crunched on time. Are you okay with this? And she tells me, yes, I absolutely want this. I have to give her what she wants. This is her film. So the director of photography, not super happy when he tells me, well, you can't have this. And I said, yes, I can, because my job is to give her what she needs in her end product, not accommodate you. I have to accommodate her, because that's what I'm getting paid for. You're not the one, and if you're allowed to have 7 people on this rig and you're only going to let me have 1 sound person, something's vitally wrong with what you're doing. I'm not going to tell you who to cut, but I'm going to tell you I need 2 spaces. I need 2 spaces, one for me with the mixer and one for my boom operator, because I'm giving the director what they want.
Sorry to cut you off right there.
No.
So, okay, another topic. Audio, the importance of audio in film, because we've all seen movies where, like, for example, Oliver Stone films, especially his 90s films, for me, the most wild one in my opinion, visually, Natural Born Killers, 1994.
Oh, great movie.
So you can have some pretty far out wild visuals, but if the audio's not there, that makes a very big difference, right? Let me go ahead and adjust right here, Elisa.
Woo.
Okay. All right.
Not a problem.
See, we threw our audience around. So talk to me about why that makes such a big difference, because in my opinion it does. The eye can forgive, because maybe it's supposed to look blurry, maybe it's supposed to be a oblique camera angle, maybe it's supposed to be a Dutch tilt, but when the audio is bad, that just sucks.
I tell people that constantly, because it actually just takes an extra maybe 5 minutes out of my job to make sure I get a clean take, I get a clean setup. If I need to stop a take, you build your reputation on how quick you are. So when you ask for that time and you say, look, I need this time, no one questions you, because you're trying to save time at every instance. But like I tell people will forgive. Something that's slightly out of focus. They will forgive a weird edit. They will forgive something, something going on in the frame, but they won't. If you at all have an audio dropout, we've all been in it. The next time you're watching a movie and you feel weird, like something has taken you out of a film, pause it and figure out what just happened. 99% of the time, it's something within the audio frame that has taken you out. Somebody's audio has shifted where you're like, wait, that doesn't sound natural. And so I tell people all the time, as filmmakers, our job is suspension of disbelief. It's my number one job, is to suspend your disbelief whenever you're watching something that I have worked on. And that means I have to be at the top of my game. I have to know that if there's a mic rustle, I have software that can get rid of that. But then there's a certain level where I can't get rid of certain sounds. So I have to be very assertive in saying, look, you can absolutely try to use this take, but more than likely you're not going to be able to. And if you're giving someone in the sound department who has the skills, there's Fred Porter, there's several people in town who do high-end sound, and they're very good at what they do. There's no women in Tucson that do high-end sound. I think I'm the only female full sound designer within Tucson that actually does this.
So that was actually going to take me to my next question before my wrist snaps off again. Here, I'll let you hold that for just a little bit.
Sure, absolutely.
So next question was, film industry at all levels, independent, guerrilla, or the big time. We need more women there.
We do, and I actually strive to make spaces for more women. A lot of people say, well, isn't that, sexism? And no, not at all. I just tend to gravitate towards women. I love Latina women. They're the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the nation are Latina women, actually in the world. And I love having women on set, and I empower them to find their voice. So when you come and you ever work with my production company, ArcLight Pictures, you're more than likely going to have a heavy set of a lot of women who work on set, because I want to foster that. I want to cultivate this sense that women are just as capable of doing what men do. We're just raised slightly differently. I was lucky. I was raised by a man who had 3 daughters.
Yeah.
I was literally named after him. My dad's Elias, I'm Elisa. They thought I was going to be a boy. So I am the other side of my dad's coin. Yeah. Literally, it was. And it was never about being sexist. He wanted me to know how to change a tire. He wanted me to know how to take care of a vehicle, how to never be stranded, how to take care of myself. And I equated that into the fields. I'd never look and say, oh, I'm a woman, I can't do that. Never once has that ever crossed my mind because of how I was raised.
What do you tell the ladies of all ages, I was going to say young ladies, but really ladies of all ages, who say, can I do audio? Can I do film stuff? What do you say to them?
I actually will tell you that, especially from an audio sound perspective, you'll be better. You'll be better than a man. And it's purely the fact that we have better ears. We hear highs better, we hear lows better. I just had a film that won. I was sound designed from beginning to end, and that film just took an award for best Arizona film at a film festival here in Arizona. And I'm super proud because I took that from on-set mixing, on-set miking, everything on set, all the way through to the end to sound design, and I knew exactly where I made mistakes that I had to fix, things that I had to figure out. And I'm super proud when I get my projects in a timeline and think, wow, I only have a few things I have to tweak. You know, I'm a big on not having to use ADR, which is audio dialogue replacement. You see it in so many movies. Everybody has seen it.
And I'm not a fan of it either, because I mean, unless it's done really, really, really well, I'm not going to try to do it. I'm not going to try to pretend that I know how to do it correctly. And so that's why I would rather just get the audio the way it needs to be gotten or recorded or captured out in the field right the first time. Maybe it's the second take, maybe it's the third take, but you know what I mean, like out in the field correctly. Right? No,
and that's another misnomer too. A lot of people think that when they get out in the field and they get this audio and they're hearing it without your headset, without, you know, a professional person like me who has mic'd somebody up, they're hearing it all come out natural, and they're thinking, oh, this is not going to be good, this is not going to be good. So I usually like to pull people aside and say, you want to take a listen to that last take, because it is so much better than they ever could believe, because of the fact that that's what I do. My job is to exclusively do audio. So if you let me do my job at its highest level, you're going to get clean stuff that ends up going into Bisbee 17, which is one of the projects I was lucky enough to get to work on. You know, things like that. So that's what ends up happening in this industry.
When you see your work on the screen, or in your case, when you hear your work on the screen, and after all the blood, sweat, and tears, the long nights, the long days, the heat, the wind, the rain, the snow, the sun, yada, 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 what does that feel like when you finally hear it on screen and you're just like, damn, that was good, or that was all, you know, was that worth it? I have to admit, it does get super difficult for you to be like, oh, that was so good. There are times when you just, absolutely. Yeah, okay. There's still certain things where I think, I should have put the mic on this side, or I should have done this, or I should have done that. But for the most part, I do revel in the fact that you have to celebrate. You have to celebrate every single win you get. However, how small, how minor it will be, you have to celebrate that. If there's a message that you want to send out to people with regards to, you know, because everyone's like, ooh, well, this camera and these lenses and these lights and everything, but, you know, what about audio? What about audio? What message do you want to send to filmmakers out there with regards to remembering audio? And speaking of audio,
exactly,
you got a big fat
giant bus going by.
I can hear that. Okay. Yeah, what message do you want to send out to people to, you know, just so that they don't forget the audio and the importance of good audio?
Here's what I'm finding lately. So in the last 2 weeks, I have been up for about 5 different jobs. I've gotten 3 of those 5, but there was 2 where they didn't have the budget. They didn't realize this. They didn't realize that. People aren't being vetted properly enough for audio. We had a gentleman early on, it was probably about 15 years ago when we had ArcLight Productions before it was ArcLight Pictures. He came to us and he had shot a full movie. He had spent about $1.2 million on this movie. Wow. Came to us, and apparently the sound person, nobody vetted the sound person. They never checked dailies. They never checked any of his audio along the way. it was not at all good. He didn't know what he was doing. So he had no on-set audio. He had camera audio out of these high-end, he was using really high-end HD cameras. Yeah. And he came to us and said, well, what can you do to fix this? And I said, you know, I'm sorry, there's nothing. There's nothing I can do to fix any of this. You either have to ADR the whole thing and sound design the heck out of it.
Ouch.
Or you have to reshoot the whole thing. So those are the things that I want you to be aware that you get what you pay for. If you're going to offer someone $75 to come in and be a mixer and a boom operator, which is a rate I don't go out for, and it's not my ego that doesn't do that. It's the fact that someone hasn't thought enough about how much things should cost. Yeah. There should be a price entailed in that. But if you are a high-end filmmaker and you happen to know me and we're good friends, I always tell people, come and talk to me. Talk to me about your budget. Talk to me about your project. Yeah. Tap those resources of friends who know how talented you are to go ahead and take that to the next level, because it will cost you in the end. And audio is the reason people don't win awards at a lot of film festivals.
Really?
I will tell you.
Wow.
How many times have you seen a project at a film festival and the audio just sucks?
Yeah, that's true. That's really true.
And it takes you out of it.
So here's something that caught my attention, Mr. Craig Phones. Audio is the key to successful production. Fixing in post sucks. Does that say sucks? Yeah, that says sucks. Right?
It does. And it does. It takes you so much longer to fix it in post, and half the time you can't. Yeah. And sometimes you can do everything extremely well, and you just have to have a take that's ADR'd. I have a movie that's an hour and 34 minutes that I did all of the sound design, all of the audio on, and there's one take within a car, a couple sitting in a car, and it just happens that we're right next to a heavy street, and then there was this big giant crane operator who decided that they needed to be out there at that time, and no one can reschedule. And so she has a great line, and it's the only line in an hour and 34 minutes of movie that I say we need ADR, which I think is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
If there's, oh, you know what? So let's say somebody out there, like Mr. Craig Phones or anybody else who would like to reach out to you, how could they do so?
You can actually, I have a great Facebook page that's Elisa Cota-Francis, and it's my page as a filmmaker, and I also own ArcLight Pictures. So if you want to get in touch with me, feel free to look up ArcLight Pictures. We're on Facebook. It's super easy to message me, and I always check all my messages. I run 3 companies. I have that one, and I also do video coaching, and we have another company called Vontify that does really easy, low-end production for entrepreneurs. So to me, reach out and talk to me. Talk to me about what you're doing. This is the sad fact of what happens. A lot of people come to us. I would say out of the last 10 folks who've come to us and asked us to be PAs or interns for ArcLight Pictures, they want to work with my husband, who is an award-winning director of photography. Bobby wins awards. He is tremendous at what he does. But 90% of them want to work with him. Nobody wants to do sound. But if you want to make money in this business, know audio and learn audio, you will consistently get work, and you'll consistently get money. Because I consistently get called. So I've been doing this 24 years.
Wow.
I don't advertise. It's all word of mouth for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and so all of your contact information, I'm going to get in the description. I want you to send it to me afterwards.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, what else would you like to add with regards to audio? Because I mean, we can just harp on, but
gosh,
like then my wife is going to say, well, now you're a broken record. You're just going to say the same thing except 20 different times, and I'm good at that. And she tells me to shut up. And
I don't think enough people talk about it. Honestly, I think it's one of those things that really, not with the puns, but this is for you, Eric Schumacher. We hope it doesn't fall on deaf ears. That's for you, Eric Schumacher. So, but it's one of those things that if you take the time and you hire somebody who's qualified, then and ask for references, ask for referrals, ask for their IMDb pages, verify, because there are a lot of high quality folks here in Tucson. Unfortunately, like I said, not a lot of them are women. Most of them are all men that I've worked with just about every single one of them at some point in my career. But take that time, because it will take your project to that next level. Because we love what we do. I love the luscious sounds of noises. I love hoof beats on cobblestones, and I love hearing cars on rock driveways. And I will, to perfection, sound design something that I want it to sound as realistic as possible. If you listen to something I do and you say, oh, I got taken out of this, something went wrong, I'm thinking, okay, what did I do wrong? I didn't bleed something in. I didn't blend it seamlessly like it should be. But take that time, because honestly, if you take your game up a notch when it comes to audio, then, you know, you really will. Your work will show so much better. Like I said, we have, every last project I've worked on has made it into festivals and won awards this last 4 years. Every single one of them that I've done audio on. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm so floored at that, and I'm so excited. And I will tell you, it's because somebody decided to spend the money on me, having me out there, or having someone like me.
Very cool. What do you think? You know what? Random question. What do you think about the silent film era? And because I like Charlie Chaplin, but you know what? Even those movies had their
music
dashes of audio, because you had the vaudeville piano, you had the little sound effects in the Charlie Chaplin movies, also Laurel and Hardy, Three Stooges, of course. But the Three Stooges had dialogue. Right?
They did. Some of them had dialogue, but even nowadays, you get someone like David Lynch. David Lynch is actually one of the reasons I became a filmmaker. Once I discovered David Lynch, so here I am, a girl who loves Star Wars. And then I discovered David Lynch, and he just blew the doors off of everything, every conception I had about filmmaking, and just boom, it was just like, let's have it raw. His use of audio still is so visceral and real, and it's so carnal. Like, there's a scene, his scenes of like people's heads getting crushed in, that he loves doing. And you'll look on his movies, he does a lot of his own sound design, because he wants you to feel a certain way from beginning to end.
Wow.
And that's who commands how you feel. It's really the audio person, because you can have this bed of bass come up, and it makes somebody really nervous. It's all these unconscious cues that we as audio people are really good at giving people, that half the people don't even realize how many threads of layers of audio that I have in a lot of takes.
Speaking of audio, so let me throw in my, of course, like, I know little to nothing about audio.
No.
But so here's what I can say. Interstellar, okay, I think that's one of the greatest science fiction movies. So underrated, but it was nominated for audio. The audio was amazing. The audio was amazing, and I did see that movie in XD, and I actually like being made deaf. Also,
I do.
What's the name
I like
of the,
it loud too. That's me.
the Harrison Ford movie with the new version? What was it? What am I thinking? Blade Runner.
Oh yeah.
Oh
I
my
actually
God.
enjoyed that movie a lot.
The audio in that movie was amazing. I saw it in XD theater in Phoenix with my wife for our anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing. And so I kind of like being made to be deaf during a movie, because first off, it shuts everyone else up around me. By the way, big pet peeve: if you are talking in a movie, don't talk. Go talk.
Please don't talk.
Go talk in
and
church.
don't talk about the movie when you're sitting in behind or in front of people. That so annoys me. Yes, please don't talk.
Look, take your talking to church if you want. Okay, you're gonna get told something there.
Yeah.
In a movie theater, you're gonna get punched.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Do not talk. Don't disrespect the audio. Okay, so that's my Interstellar rant.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a rant. It was more like a great observation that it got nominated for audio of all things, and I think it should have been nominated for more.
It's a great film. Christopher Nolan's a great filmmaker.
I love Christopher Nolan. I wasn't too much of a fan of Dunkirk, but still good audio design right there too.
Yeah, well, and actually one of my favorites of his is what is the one? Memento? No, not just Memento. Memento will blow your mind. If you haven't heard of Memento, that will blow your mind.
Inception?
No, the one before with Christopher, with
Leonardo?
No. What's his face? Remember he lost all that weight? The Machinist. Oh my gosh! You want a movie that's beautifully done? Christian Bale in The Machinist, and that's got great audio. It's got great audio in it.
And then also, so greatest use of audio that really caught my attention recently, two actually. Glass. Saw that about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
That was really well, really well done, and audio plays a very big part of that. But also, A Quiet Place.
Oh yes, I've heard
that was amazing because you had this contrast, like per the story, it has to be quiet. You can't make noises or else the monsters come and get you. So there are moments of quiet, and that's contrasted with this intense, very rich audio when it does come up, when the monsters show up and they have to like evade the monsters.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of my favorites, Master and Commander. Master and Commander was done, and it is beautiful.
Russell Crowe.
I could easily go on, and there's several different, people who like to do audio in different ways. You have certain directors that want to have 20 mics that come in where a scene is fluid, where a camera follows somebody, and you get mics coming up and down.
Wow.
And it's one of the things that we just got done watching was the third season of Twin Peaks, and. That really, audio is used implicitly. He uses it as a full-fledged tool because every episode is so different And he uses it to the point where you'll get pulled out and you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is really like, it's really dynamically interesting. I actually want to go back and watch the entire thing again because it was fascinating to me. He used audio so differently than he uses it dynamically very differently in a lot of his movies, but this one was very different.
And I think the use of audio, when it's done really well, you feel the effect, but you're not aware. Or at least I'm not aware until afterwards.
Emotional.
Yeah,
it's an emotional feeling. That's what it does.
Effect, an emotional effect and an emotional reaction on my behalf.
Exactly.
And then it's only afterwards I thought, or I think, and it hits me. Damn, that was really good audio. Or the way that audio was used was really, really well done.
Absolutely. And when you couple that with dynamic graphics and dynamic photography, you know, and cinematography, that's where your work gets taken to this next level. Yeah. Where it's just, you know, you watch a scene and you're like, oh my gosh, you just, you know, you love it so much.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, or maybe something that, so we're going to get your information into the description of the video once we're done. And, you know, just a final closing message to those out there who, you know, kind of wonder, like, you know, should I do audio? Should I do anything in film? Or maybe to the Latinas out there, all the ladies and stuff, because we do need more. I mean, yes, Hollywood and the whole Me Too movement out there, but the thing is, I'm sorry, you know what? Bad example. Not the Me Too movement. Look, the whole push. Here's what. I'm really tired. I'm sorry. I've been to Phoenix all day, and we have a big bus right here in front of us, and people are looking at us like weirdos, but we love them, and we'll wave at them.
They just get jealous.
Okay. Focus, Edgar. So anyway, the whole push for more female participation in the filmmaking realm. I mean, because you do have the...
well, I'll give you a stat. 82% of all of the heads of department on films are men. Wow. 82%. Wow. And we're talking Latin, Asian, all men. 82%. That's still drastically stunning. Yep. You know?
Ladies, step it up, because we need your representation. We need your voice, you know, not just, you know, out in the field doing the actual content, but also, you know, not that it's my realm to step into, like, you know, the management offices and whatnot. Definitely not my world, but we do need the representation there, right?
We do, and what it is we want more rich production, because a female-led production is going to bring about differences in the way the project is put together. And the more you have a voice, the more it's equal. I mean, we're seeing that with transgender, you know, topics. We're seeing so many things, much more like sexuality in filmmaking nowadays is so much more fluid. Like, we don't have that typical whether someone is straight or gay or bi. You have this fluidity of sexuality, which has actually been within our society forever. And we're finally seeing it represented in filmmaking. And you get people, and you get people like Shonda Rhimes, who, you know, from the get-go, she is amazing to me because she brought in so many different colors and races and people within her to reflect what she saw when she walked out on the street. And that's what we want to just reflect what we see out there. So we need more of those voices, and we need more women to come up in STEM. You know, we need more scientists. We need more female filmmakers, because some of the best filmmakers I've worked with are women. They really are. I like how you do this.
You know, it's because, like, every time, first off, my wrists are about to snap off, but then also every time,
hold the camera for you.
Every time, you know, Bobby, I think I'm going to ask you to do that next time. But every time, because we're almost done here. But every time I came up with a new question, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, she just answered that one.
Oh,
so that's what happens. That's why you get the deer in the headlights look on my face, like, what do I ask next? You know what I mean? When I'm regularly a whole lot better. So
no, don't worry about it. I understand.
Yeah. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you,
and if again. Your contact information is going to be in the description of the video. And everyone, just goes to show you guys, you want to learn something in the storytelling realm, in the filmmaking realm, whether it be audio, cinematography, lighting, whatever.
Well, you know what? I will add one last thing.
Okay.
So a lot of people have asked us why ArcLight Pictures. We've officially launched it over 3.5 years ago, and we've grown fast. We've probably had 5 years worth of progress in 3 years.
Wow.
One of the biggest reasons is because I decided to become an expert in audio, which not a lot of people do. So I am also a really good cinematographer and director of photography. So is my husband. I'm a really good award-winning editor. So is my husband. So we both own ArcLight Pictures together and do production together. So we have these overlapping skills. Wow. So we as a team go out constantly to do productions, him and I. So find that partnership. If you don't want to do audio, find that partnership, because what'll end up happening is you'll get more work, because you don't have to call someone else to do audio. You only have to worry about budgeting for these two people. And you know, when you have that friendship and you have that, that's one of the reasons we've shown so much success, because we've been able to live off of one paycheck essentially. And not have to worry, because it's both of us together in the same house, in the same office, paying the same amount of bills, but he doesn't have to get paid a certain rate and I don't have to get paid a certain rate. If he's on set getting paid, you know, sometimes $500 a day to, you know, be a first AC, I can be there with him and be an assistant because he's getting paid $500 a day. So it's those little tricks that have really added to our success, that we're a one-stop shop. We can do it all from beginning to end.
And that's pretty awesome. And so, and as we were speaking about that topic before with Bobby, which we're definitely going to talk about right now, wearing many hats.
Yes.
Being willing to wear many hats, right?
Yeah, and not having the ego and say, no, I'm only a DP and I only do this.
So.
I totally respect and understand, like when I get approached by certain people who don't understand what audio should cost, and they give me a rate that I just realize, you know, and I don't laugh at them. I just simply say, hey, you know, are you aware that I will tell you my LA rate? When I get hired by an LA crew, I get paid $550 a day minimum, just for me. And then an extra $200 minimum for my gear. And that's just for low, just, you know, a documentary shoot with maybe a couple of microphones, a boom, and things like that. No operator. You know, that's $750 a day that I would get paid to do my job. That's nothing to shirk at. So when you come to somebody and you say, oh, I'll give you $50 a day if we could use your equipment and have you on set, that's kind of a huge slap in the face, you know. But if you understand you don't have a huge budget, you have to realize that, you know, I can't get paid what a PA gets paid, you know. So those are the things where you need to start networking with each other, because sometimes you have a friend who's really good at something and they're willing to take that $50 a day pay because they see what you have. They see that you can monetize what you do, and that's exactly what we do a lot of times. Like if I decide to go at a lower rate than $750 a day, it's because I've negotiated in my contract to get on the back end, or to get something else, or to get more credit, or to promote ArcLight Pictures as a production company. There's a lot of ways for you to promote yourself and further yourself smartly. Don't just do it for IMDb credit and food. Think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And sometimes turning down that $50 a day means you can get that $300 a day or that $500 a day.
Very good points. Very good points. Honestly, you know what? Here.
You're so sweet.
And then also, yeah, I mean, you got a lot of energy.
No, I get super passionate about what I do. Yeah,
it's definitely passion, and you know
I
what?
am so on fire because this is what I want to tell you guys all. Film is coming back to Marana. Tucson, hey, I love you, Tucson. You kind of dropped the ball a little bit. So Marana, we've stepped up. And we have more productions there. Laura Cordelue with the Marana Film Office is off the hook to get more stuff there. Wow. She is ready. The Terry Rosamond, who's one of our good friends, chief of police of the town of Marana, is super excited to get more production there. So, and the mayor, Ed Honey, Ed is so ecstatic about the productions coming in, and they see the viability of the industry. So Marana wants your work, wants your projects. Come to Marana. We will find you crew. We will find you things, and we'll save you money at every avenue that we can. We will help you, because it only means more success for all of us.
Very true.
You know, it really does. And the more, like, it's that whole rising tide lifts all boats. And that's my legacy, is to bring film back to Southern Arizona. I'm awesome. A child of Southern Arizona, and I promise you that in the next 20 years we will be the Burbank of Southern Arizona. Some people laugh when I say that, but it's 100% true. I guarantee you, we will. We'll have studios here. You know, the model is changing, so we won't have as much as Hollywood, because the model is changing how we make films. But I will tell you, there is so much thirst, and there is so much love, and so much camaraderie. And I mean, we're in an industry, we talked about this earlier. You have many hats that you wear. You can go on different productions. I can go on different productions. People in LA can't do that. So we're kind of like this little gem, because I can work in film, television, documentary.
And in a way, that's kind of the benefit of working in a state where, you know what, again, at the legislative level, I know that it's not a popular sentiment, but I mean, this is kind of the flip side benefit, the other side of the tortilla, if you will, to maybe not having, you know, like the
conventional incentives of some kind.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And so, you know, you have this openness to learn and do anything and everything that you want to learn.
And if you want that back, if you want those incentives, the way you do it is business to business. And that's what we've worked on in Marana. We brought the business community in to say, hey, do you provide water to construction sites during the summer? Why don't you do that for film sites? How much would that cost? How awesome would it be? And I literally
yeah.
had a gentleman say, oh, would you guys need ice also? And I'm like, are you kidding? If you
Yeah.
could bring ice and water to a set at a price that doesn't break the bank, so that we then don't have to recycle a gazillion bottles,
Yeah.
you know, that would just save us how much time and energy. So there's another revenue stream for his construction company that provides water to different places. It's things like that that go business to business. Talk to those people that you know.
I like that idea, because you're right there, you're just kind of bypassing the state, and you're just kind of setting up these networks between productions and business people
Directly.
who can, yeah. And so I dig the idea. And I first heard of that concept through, I think it was a meeting with Mr. Earl Jones.
And it probably came out of us, because he takes a lot of what a lot of people say, which is great, and he reinstitutes that knowledge. But that's the base of what we've been talking about for almost the last 4 years in Marana is, hey, come here, because we will accommodate you. We will figure out a way for your business to benefit from the film industry, and we will have filmmakers be able to say, hey, this is what I need. I need space. You know, do you have a farm? How about you give us 50 acres so that we can just shoot your cows one day, or, you know, every so often bring people out. There are so many people excited to do that, you know, with locations and things like that. So, and we're really building that community in Marana.
Sweet. Is there anything else you want to add? Or maybe
No,
something
that
I
was
haven't
really, that was really just, you know, I wanted to really give that plug for Marana, because we're doing a lot, and we're working our butts off.
A lot of activity in Marana these days, from what I've been seeing online and whatnot.
Exactly. And all we care about is bringing, again, that legacy of film, because I want you to not that I know that you love working for KVOA, but I'm sure you'd rather be out making more film projects. I mean, there's a lot of good friends of ours that are talented filmmakers who have a second job.
Yeah.
So my job is to get them out of their jobs. And they don't need to be millionaires.
Yeah.
They just want to be able to make $30,000, $40,000 a year just being an actor, being, you know, a grip, being a gaffer, doing electricity,
That
doing
would be awesome
lighting.
for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And that's my goal. My goal is I'm working for you, I'm working for Marana, I'm working for the people in Southern Arizona to say, you guys, I will bring this. We're going to bring, and I'm going to work my butt off to get that industry solidly entrenched here, where it won't go away. Where one soundstage burns down, that's okay. We got 5 more.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So, all right, everyone. So, don't know what else I can add, in all honesty, but yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. And thank you for doing these. I
Yeah.
mean, just bringing the word out and talking to people around this community is big.
Yeah.
This really does.
And then, you know what, so that kind of goes back to what we were saying, being part, and I'm not saying I want to be the tide, I want to be part of the tide that lifts all boats, and that's why we do Filmspiration. That's why I've always, you know, as you know, my day job is obviously in journalism, but at the same time, the aspect of being fascinated by the stories behind the storytellers here in Southern Arizona, that's kind of why I started Filmspiration. And so I wanted to kind of gather all the stories. And obviously, you know, in this case, it's, you know, it's a YouTube channel or a fan page, but still to be able to like kind of gather everyone's stories and bring them all together and give people exposure, because there's a lot of amazing people that I've met doing amazing things. And I didn't see anybody talking about it the way I would have liked to have seen it talked about. So guess what? That's my cue. Jump on in. So everyone, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Elisa, any closing words?
No, just get out there and do it. Whatever story idea you have in your head, I want you to go sit down. Sit down right now and start writing it out. Just write it out. Well, it doesn't matter if it makes sense or is haphazard. Write out what it is that you want to do. Just do it. Call that person up that you want to say you want to work with. You know how many times I've gotten jobs because I just mentored somebody, or I decided, hey, you're amazing. Can I just watch what you do? Talk to people. People love to be valued, and for you to see something in them and want to do that, people love that.
Awesome. Yeah, and you heard it. I mean, that just goes back to the message that I'm always spreading at the end of every Filmspiration episode is, you know what, if you got a higher power, let's talk about the higher power. If you got a higher power, reach out to your higher power. That's between you and your higher power. Exactly. Other than that, don't ask for anyone's blessing, anyone's permission. Run out there, do your thing, tell your stories. And if you have any questions or if you need to learn how to do it, go to the University of YouTube. I hear the tuition is free.
True.
And
work with the mentality of fire, aim, shoot.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, and especially the shoot part, because you know what? Ideas are great and everyone's got an idea, but the execution is what matters.
Exactly.
Are you doing it? Are you
first.
actually going to do it?
Shoot, aim, fire, and do a small project. And this is the last thing. Yes, we all have a big feature that we all have in our head, and we're like, yes, you know, we want to make the second Apocalypse Now. But you know what you need to do? Make a 5-minute video. Go on the set of a music video. Like, make something small.
What if I don't have a camera or fancy equipment, but I do have a cell phone? Ooh.
Do those fun things. Believe me, people are doing so many amazing things just to make noise. Start making noise, and you will find your voice.
Cool, everyone. Thank you very much. So again, Elisa's contact information is going to be in the description of the video. Elisa, your name?
Elisa Cota-Francis. So just go look for me, Elisa, E-L-I-S-A, Cota, C-O-T-A, Francis, F-R-A-N-C-I-S, or easily ArcLight Pictures, A-R-C-L-I-G-H-T, Pictures. That's me.
Awesome. And then again, with FILMspiration, if you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button with the little bell right there next to it. That way you're notified next time I make a new video, if I can get the verbiage out
And
correctly.
he will be doing more videos, guys, because the film industry is exploding in this area. So Edgar is on the cusp of all of this stuff that's going on. So
And I'm going to definitely keep at it, because there's just more and more stuff that keeps
There
on
is.
happening. And on Facebook, hit that big fat thumbs up or a like on the page. If you like the video, give us a big fat thumbs up. Here's a taste of my sarcasm. If you thought this video sucked, give us a big fat thumbs up. We'd still love it anyway.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
also leave us a comment. Definitely want to hear your thoughts, your feelings. I will hit you back. I will hit you back. I love to talk with people. It takes me maybe a day or two, after work and whatnot, but I eventually do talk to you in the comments, because I want to hear what you have to say. Also the Twitters and the Instagrams below. Everyone, thank you so much. My name is writer-director Edgar Ibarra. This has been FILMspiration. Catch you in the next one.
thanks, guys.
Bye. There you go.